Hey guys, and today I'm going to be showing you how to change the automatic transmission fluid on an early model W123. This is a 1981 Mercedes 240D, but this should be the same for any early model transmission. Just know if yours is an early model, you'll have the square transmission pan rather than having the one that has little lumps in the middle. When you're looking them up online, you'll know what I'm talking about, so you'll know if you have an early model or not. So let's go ahead and get into it. First of all, you want to make sure your transmission is warm. I have been driving this car all day, so I know it is up to operating temperature, as you want to make sure that the fluid is mixed around so you get the majority of the gunk out of it. And second, you're going to want to get it in the air, so I'm going to be using ramps. Now I'm going to show you what parts you're going to need. Here's the filter I'll be using. This is an H199 man filter for the early model, and a square transmission pan gasket. This is the Mercedes actual part. There's the part number right there. Now I know there's a whole debate on what transmission fluid is the best. I'm going to be using this Max Life. I've seen quite a few people use it in these transmissions and they're fine, so this is what I'm going to be using. Let's go ahead and get the car up in the air. I'm going to be using this lube guard, the red one. I'll link in the description. I've seen a few people suggest you put this in there as well, so that's what I'm going to do. Okay, so the vehicle in the air, we're going to need a 5mm hex. I'll link it down in the description. This is just one from Harbor Freight. The only other thing you're going to need to do this is a 13mm socket. Now, I could not find, there's not many answers on how much fluid to put into these early model transmissions, so what I did is I'm going to get, this is a gallon. I know this is going to be a gallon. So I'm going to drain it into this, so however much came out of this is going to go back into the transmission. That's the gallon, that's the gallon. I do have another one of those, in case there is more than a gallon in here, but I don't think there's going to be. So I'm going to go ahead and show you where the drain bolts are, and where to drain. This does have a torque converter drain, so you have to drain two things. I'll show you how to spin the engine over, so that way you make sure you can drain the torque converter as well. Okay, so we're underneath the early model transmissions. You'll see this very small square pan. That is where the transmission filter is housed. And we're going to see this tube. This tube is the dipstick tube, actually. This is where the dipstick goes in, which is also where we drain it. At least the initial draining, because there actually is no drain bolt, per se, on this old transmissions. So we go ahead, we're going to crack this loose, and it should start spilling fluid. I'm going to catch it in here. Just be aware, if you have a drain pan, make it much easier, because I'm going to try to get measurements as best I can for you. So let's go ahead and crack this one loose, and then we'll work on getting right here, this little square, is where the other drain bolt is going to be. I did find out that in the early transmission you also will need a 19mm for this. These are 13, and here's a 5mm hex. So let's go ahead and get this one cracked loose. Alright, with it cracked loose, it is coming out right there to drain, and then it's just slightly pumping over, and I'm just going to catch it in this. And I'm just slowly trying to take this nut off, but it doesn't seem to want to come, so I'm going to let it drain like this instead. After this stops dripping, then we will position the engine in a way to get this one bolt out. Okay, so I got the drain bolt, well, not the drain bolt, but the filler neck bolt all the way out. And while it was draining, I didn't take it all the way out because it would spill. I did spill a little bit, so I was just putting something down. I did take an opening and crescent wrench because while it was draining I was trying to loosen it, and I had too much tension to do it by hand. So I just did it with the wrench, and that worked pretty well. So I would say you would want one of these, or you can just let it drain slowly. Either way works. And now that actually is out, so this does move. If you really felt like it, you could unbolt it from up top, but it is just, you can just pull it out of the way while you're taking the pan out. So we're going to go ahead and find the drain plug for the torque converter. Let me show you how to do that. Okay, so I cannot find the 5mm torque converter bolt, as well. Usually on some engines I've seen online, you can either put a wrench on the alternator pulley right here, or on the power steering pulley up there with like a crescent wrench, and you're able to turn the engine over by hand just slightly and slowly. But I am unable to, so I'm just going to leave the torque converter full, as my fluid is, it's dirty, definitely needs to be replaced, but it's not disgusting. So I'll leave that full this time, but it would be right here. You'd have to rotate the engine a few times, and a 5mm torque, hex bolt would appear. So we got this 19mm out. So let's go ahead and we're gonna take these out very slowly, as there should be still some more fluid left in here, specifically towards the back, as the car's at an angle right now. So we're gonna take these off very slowly and see if we can make it drain into this, or if we can bring it down with the fluid in it. I'm gonna try to do it with the fluid in it, as that would make it easier for me to determine how much fluid is needed to go back in. So I'm gonna go ahead and try to do that, and I'll let you guys know. Okay, so I got the transmission pan off. I will admit I spilled quite a bit of fluid. It does have these kind of bolts that have like a little indent in them, as you can see. I put them in there like respective, that way they go back in the same hole they came out of. I don't know if it matters. But here's what this pan looks like. There's the filter. There's the original Mercedes part number if you really want that. But it's held in by 2 Phillips head screws, so we're going to go ahead and take that out, and then we'll compare to our new man filter. Alright, so we're going to compare. This is our original that came out. This is a Mercedes, and this is a man. The holes are the same, and even a little indent right there, which might serve a purpose of bleeding. As we can see inside here, it is a little dirty, which, this is mileage change is due. So go ahead and flip it over. Here's what this one looks like underneath. It's the man, as you can see. And this one's the Mercedes. It says Mercedes part number right there. One more time for you, a little more clearly, if you want the Mercedes one. And that might be discontinued by now, but I'm just going to put the man, so this is what I have everywhere else in the vehicle. But everything looks the same. There's no differences, so that's good. So we'll go ahead and get this one screwed up in there. Okay, so with the transmission pan out, I went ahead and drained the rest of it into my jug. As we can see, it's about half a gallon. I would say a little bit more because of what I have spilt. We went ahead and we took the old gasket off. It just peels straight up and off. It does have a specific direction it has to go back on, which it's pretty simple after you look at it. But this is a Mercedes part, and I did buy a Mercedes part, original one, so my new one is the same. There's no difference. It's same part number. I'll show you the part number on the part itself. But I was looking at this one, and it has a few cuts in it. So I wonder, I do have some seepage underneath my vehicle. I wonder if it is due to simply one of my gaskets being installed incorrectly at some point in time. Anyhow, I'm going to clean this up. You're going to make sure that right here, along this lip, that is very clean, as that is where your new gasket is seating. You'll see this lip kind of thing right here. It goes this way. The reason why you're going to know that pretty easily is there's the only place that this has a notch in it is for this. Now, the actual reason this notch exists, I have no idea. What it might be is because the part number is right here, and maybe it makes it so you know which part number that is. I couldn't tell you. To install the new gasket, you just simply press it on. I could do this with my hand. That's how easy this one is to install. So let's go ahead and I'll show you what the new filter looks like underneath. And then we'll go ahead and put the 4 bolts back in and put our filler neck tube bolt back in. Okay, with us under the car, we have the 2 Phillips head screws right here and right here. We installed and we pressed it in. You want to make sure these are, I would say get them as tight as you can. Obviously, don't strip them. I have a larger tipped screwdriver Phillips head. That way it is not going to strip them. You don't want to strip these. So now that we have that installed, we can go ahead and place our pan back up in here, and I'll give you how tight you need to tighten them to. Okay, so we have gotten all 4 bolts back in, and this one. Out of all of them, this will probably be the one you're going to get the tightest. This does have 2 crush washers. You can barely see it, but you want to make sure both those crush washers are still there. Don't make sure the one off of this one doesn't fall off and the one off the pan doesn't fall off. If you do, if those fall off, they're going to find or buy a new one, as there will be a leak there. And then for these, I just got them relatively tight, as it does have a gasket, so you just want to make sure you're seating the gasket in. I didn't get it really tight, but I got it tight enough that it feels, like it's going to be good seal. So now that we have this done, let's go ahead and add fluid. Okay, so this is all it came out. I know I spilt some, so we'll just say it was half a gallon that came out, just about. So I went ahead and put 2 quarts of fluid in it, just about 2 full quarts. A little bit less than 2, a little bit more than less than 2 quarts I put in there. And then this, you don't put this whole bottle in there. If you read the instructions, it says you put a ounce per quart. So there's 10 ounces in here, so you have 10 quarts to treat. This only has 4 quarts in it. I'm gonna put 2 quarts in, so I'm gonna put about 2 ounces of this in there. Just splash it in there basically. So I'm gonna put 2 quarts. I'm gonna go ahead and take it all the way down to this line. I'm gonna fill it up. You fill it through the dipstick, which, if you didn't know, is this one right here. So I'm gonna go ahead and finish adding that, and then we'll start it up. We'll start it, let it run for a few seconds, then immediately turn it off, make sure it's okay. Alright, so I have checked, and there's a little bit of wetness from this dipstick, but I think that's from me spilling it at the top, and it's making its way down this tube. So I checked around the pan, it's not leaking, so that's good. So we'll go ahead and back it off of the ramps and check the level and fill as needed. Okay, so with the car idle and running, we went ahead and we had to add some fluid. But when you look at the dipstick right there, the little lines, I don't know if you can faintly see that or not, but the fluid is covering that second line, which is where the full mark is, which is good. So that's exactly where we want it while running it idle. This isn't exactly flat, but this is as flat as I can get it. I did end up using just over 2 quarts of fluid. So 1 jug should do this little change. I know the later transmissions take more fluid. So let's go ahead and take it for a drive and go through all the gears and make sure everything's good. Okay, ran out of daylight to do the video. So I went ahead and topped off the fluid entirely, and while I was running and everything. So I ended up using exactly just about 3.5 quarts of fluid to drop the pan, change the filter, and fill it back up to operating level to the full mark. So 3.5 quarts. So 1 jug is enough, so I'm going to return the other jug. If you have the later model transmission pan, that's a little bit a different style than the one I have. I think you'll need 2 bottles, but there's videos for those transmissions. This is just a video on doing early transmissions, as I cannot find one online. But I want to show you, which is kind of neat, what I did is I got these 2 little glass bowls out. Here's the old fluid. There's still a little bit of red pigmentation to it, but here is the new. You can definitely tell the difference. I mean, you can see through this one almost. Yeah, you can't see through this one really well. There's no see through that one. So I went ahead. Obviously, it's topped off. Fluid's full. One more time, I will show you the part number for the pan gasket, as it's kind of long. This is the Mercedes-Benz part. I'll link it down in the description along with the filter, the man filter, which was H199. I'll link both of them in the description. I did have to get the man filter off of eBay, but I'll link the, I'll find one at Auto House or Pelican Parts or something, a reputable company that I usually would use. I just wanted to hear a little bit faster, so I used somebody else. So I hope this helps. I'll see you guys next time.